Thank you, Rachel. I've prepared my keynote in English, following the request from the organizer, Exito. But I didn't see any expert here, so I mean, like, could you please raise your hand if you don't speak Bahasa? Nobody. So everyone seems speaking in Bahasa, right? That's my point. So let me put it this way. I would like to continue my keynote in English, but please feel free to reach out because I have Uli, Miss Uli over there, who prepare everything like keynote slides and everything. I don't want to put her words in waste. I would like to continue my keynote in English, but feel free to reach out to us if you have any question, if you want to have cooperation, if you want to know deeper about the Indonesia 2030 payment system blueprint or about any other policy enacted by the central banks. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, partners, good afternoon. I want to start by asking you to look at the person sitting to your left and your right. You represent the most sophisticated financial ecosystem in Southeast Asia. 10 years ago, we are still a cash is king society. Today, we are a global case study in digital leapfrogging. But, and this is the reason for my keynote today, we are at a crossroad. Last week, I bought a coffee from a street vendor in Bandung. I didn't use cash. I scanned QR code. It took me just 3 seconds. And that street vendor now has a digital footprint, as most of sellers in the regional market in Indonesia do. But, and here is the paradox, when those vendors try to get a bank loan for a second card, the digital magic often disappears. At Bank Indonesia, we have successfully completed what we call as the connectivity phase of our 2025 Indonesia Payment System Blueprint. We have built the fastest payment pipes in the region. But pipes alone don't make an economy. As we move toward the 2030 blueprint, we are asking a harder question. Is the foundation of digitalization strong enough to carry out a $5 trillion economy? And today, we aren't just talking about digital payments. We are talking about architecture of the trust. I want to take you under the hood of our new legal and structural framework, specifically Omnibus Law on Financial Sector or Undang-Undang B2SK, and the 2030 vision to show you how we are hardening this nation for the next decade. Let's first acknowledge how far we have come. The 2025 blueprint was our moonshot. We launched QRIS, BFSI, and Snap Open API, nearly 60 million users, and over 40 million merchants use QRIS. And its transaction grew by 130% year-on-year in February earlier this year. Retail transaction volume proceed through BFSI reached nearly 450 million transactions, growing over 30%. And BFSI transaction value is amounting to over 1,000 trillion in February 2026. We didn't just digitize, we democratized. But as we look forward toward the 2030 blueprint, the game is changing. If the 2025 blueprint was about the quantity, meaning getting everyone on board, the 2030 is about quality. We are moving toward a consolidated industry structure. We aren't just looking for more players, we're looking stronger players. Through the so-called, we call it TICME criteria, we are ensuring that the institution leading to this search have the capital, have the tech, and have the risk management to withstand global shocks. Let's talk about the why. In 2025, our goal at Bank Indonesia was inclusion. We wanted every merchant on KRIS, we succeeded. But in 2030, our goal is integration and resilience. We are moving toward a consolidated industry structure. Why? Because a fragmented market is a fragile market. We want prime institutions. Think about it. In a world of AI-driven fraud and global liquidity shift, we need anchors. Bank Indonesia is shifting its focus from more players to stronger players. We are looking for institutions that can act as the backbone for thousands of smaller fintechs like some of you. This isn't just a policy change, it's a structural evolution of the Indonesian economy. Now let's get technical. How do we define a prime institution? This is critical. We use the TICME framework. I want you to listen closely to these 5 letters because they will dictate your licensing and compliance for the next 5 years. T is for transaction. We aren't just looking at value, we are looking at systemic connectivity. How much of the economy relies on your uptime? I is for interconnection. Gone are the days of walled gardens. If your API isn't SNAP compliant, you should check. You are essentially off the grid. K, or in this case C, obviously, is for competency. This is measured to your HR department. We are looking at the digital literacy of your boards of directors. Does your leadership understand the risk in digital payments? While M is for management of risk. This is the big one, cyber resilience. In 2030, regulators may treat a major data breach as a threat to national security, not just a corporate error. And lastly, I is for IT infrastructure. We mean data sovereignty. Where is your cloud? How redundant is your hub? So ask yourselves now, where does your institution sit on the TICME scale today? Second, let's talk about Undang-Undang P2SK. Many of you, I have no idea if you're lawyers or not. I'm basically lawyers, Uli also basically lawyers. Many of you may see a 500-page of law. We see still, regulatory still. The biggest granular shift is within this law is activity-based regulation. In the past, if you're fintech, you felt you had more room to move than a bank. Today's, those days are over, and that's for a good reason. If you provide payment services, whether you are a big tech company or a traditional bank, the rules are not harmonized. This removes regulatory arbitrage. It ensures that no one can undercut your business by taking risks with consumer data or with liquidity that you are allowed to take. This law is the anchor that will allow global investors to finally trust Indonesian small fintech with big money, in our opinion. Because of what? Because the legal floor is now global standard. Now, for the center of the galaxy, we gonna have the digital rupiah. Bank Indonesia is now conducting, we call it Project Garuda. Why is central bank issuing a digital currency when we already have BFSI? I actually wrote a paper on this back then, like a couple years ago in IMF. Because we need a sovereign link in the age of tokenization. In this case, we are building a 2-tier model. Bank Indonesia will issue the wholesale digital rupiah, the digital gold, and you, the industry, will provide the retail interface. Think of the wholesale digital rupiah as the programmable version of the money currently sitting at central banks' vault. It allows for atomic settlement, it allows for smart contract. It means that in 2030, a cross-border trade deal can settle in seconds, not days, with zero settlement risk. You are the innovators. On the front end, we provide the sovereign finality on the back end. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and partners, we are no longer an island. Through regional payment connectivity, your customers can now pay with their Indonesian app in Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, and beyond, including Japan and South Korea. But the borders, when as the borders came down, the digital threats go up. You obviously know this better than me. Our focus for 2030 includes massive investment in cyber resilience and AML CFT. We are adopting global standard not because we have to, but because to be a global leader, Indonesia must be the safest place in the world to move money. And finally, as I conclude this deep dive, I want you to remember these things, 3 things. First, safety is your most profitable features. In the world of deep fakers, trust will be the only things customer pay a premium for. Second, Undang-Undang P2SK is your armor. It isn't a barrier, it's a legitimacy you need to go global. And third, regulators, including Bank Indonesia, are your partner. We are writing the blueprints, but you are the ones building the house. The 2030 blueprints of Indonesia payment system isn't just a document in our office. It is a vision for a sovereign, digital, and inclusive Indonesia. Let's build it together. Thank you. It was a bit theatrical. Like I mentioned before, if you have any follow-up question or you want to reach out with at the Bank Indonesia, you want to have a cooperation or you want to have like a deep dive on our policy, on monetary policy, payment system policy, like what I mentioned now during my keynote. And on the financial system stability, just feel free to reach out. Just connect with, I think with the organizer, with Jin, maybe, Uli. They will share with you my emails, for instance, just share with them, or my WhatsApp, I don't mind doing it. And then, let's see if we could do something. Okay. Thank you so much.